Chapter 5 of Little Tales of the Desert by Ethel Twycross Foster. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Reading by Matt Perard. Chapter 5. The Dangerous Pet. Mary, with her mother, was taking a short stroll just before sundown. As they were about to return they espied the largest and strangest lizard they ever saw. It was nearly 2 feet long, with a perfectly round body, a broad flat head, short legs, and a short blunt tail. It was a chunky little animal, all covered with a rough skin like an alligator and dotted with square warts. It seemed very tame, and followed Mary into the tent, where she made a warm nest for it in the corner near her bunk. It was very fond of being petted, and would lie and rub its head against Mary's hand. When Father returned at night he was much pleased with the strange pet and encouraged Mary to keep it, thinking, of course, that it was some strange overgrown lizard. The question was, what should they feed it? First they tried grubs and worms, which were not touched. Then bread, meat, insects, and all sorts of things, but nothing would he taste. At last some one thought of eggs, and that was apparently just what the little fellow wanted, and that is what he lived on during the month Mary had him for her pet. At the end of that month Big Ben, the foreman, came into Mary's tent to repair the floor. The first Mary knew that anything was wrong was when he gave a scream, calling to her to keep away from the tent. Her father, near by, ran to see what was the matter. Ben pointed to the big lizard and cried, "A Gila monster! Let us kill him quickly!" Mary and her parents looked at him in surprise. They had never heard of such an animal. Ben, however, had spent years on the desert and knew well its dangers. But he had no gun, and all he could do was to take a stick and push the thing out of doors. Then a queer thing happened. When the hot sun shone down on the Gila monster, pronounced Gila, it was no longer tame and gentle, but would snap at anyone who came near, and acted ugly, continuing to hiss with his mouth wide open, on the lookout for the first sign of an enemy. A squirrel came out of the brush and ran a bit too near, when the big lizard fastened its fangs in the poor little animal and turned over with it in its mouth. The poison is in its lower jaw, and when he turns over it flows out. The squirrel died in a very few moments from the effects of the poison, in spite of the fact that Ben had meantime shot the Gila monster through the head. Mary's parents were horrified when they realized what a dangerous pet their little girl had been playing with for so many weeks. They determined to seek Ben's advice hereafter before housing any more strange animals. But Mary was not in great danger, for generally the little reptiles are tame indoors, but out of doors, in the sunshine, they become cross and ugly, and their bite is more dangerous than that of a rattlesnake. End of chapter 5.